David Knight from Infowars.com. I interrupt this important vacation for an even more important announcement. Of course, you've seen the news about WikiLeaks and Vault 7. Remember, it was 5 years ago that we talked about, we reported on Infowars.com, that David Petraeus went to a meeting of In-Q-Tel, the venture capital firm for the CIA. Why do we have a venture capital firm for the CIA? But that's another story. Anyway, he goes to them and he says, we're going to have the appliances spying on everybody. And of course, that's part of this. It's the Internet of Things. And that's one of the key things that's revealed in this. And as WikiLeaks said, we need to have a discussion in the public about how we're going to proceed with this new and dangerous power. And of course, they don't want this discussion. We just saw earlier today, Wired Magazine reporting that they have decided to let a child pornographer go rather than reveal their methods for collecting the information that they got from him. We have to have a government that obeys the law. If they don't obey the law, we should not be allowing them to convict even child pornographers. There's no reason they can't get a search warrant for this. No reason, except for their ingrained disrespect for the Constitution. But I want to talk to you about something else. As we look at this, as we move forward, the Internet of Things, that is going to include our automobiles. Remember Michael Hastings a couple of years ago? I said at the very beginning, we could look at the accident. We could see the motor ejected and going down the path that he was traveling. His car then veering off to a right angle and into a tree. The car catching fire, but the gas tank was never involved. All of this said that the car was taken over. The car was blown up. He was assassinated. Then we found out, after we looked at all of that, we found out that he was, in fact, on the run from the government. He said, I've got to go undercover. This is very dangerous what I'm about to reveal. They will do anything to stop this information from being put out there. That's why it's very important. And we do appreciate what WikiLeaks is doing, but we have to have this discussion. Not enough was said after the Snowden leaks. Not anything has really been changed after the Snowden leaks. You talk about this USA Privacy Act or whatever the nonsense they called it. It absolutely did nothing. It was a mask. It was a beard. Far worse is on its way. We have to have a discussion about autonomous killing machines. We have to have a discussion about, are we going to let them take away our cars and control and monitor all of our transportation? Let me tell you, the most important part of this is not even if they're listening to your conversation. So many people say, well, I don't really care because I'm not really talking about anything dangerous. Yes, you are. You have to understand that what they're doing that is more important than listening to particular words about a bomb or about that would be related to terrorism. They want a pulse of what they consider to be the hive. You are simply one little worker bee in their hive, and they want to know if the hive is angry. They want to know if the hive is going to be moving with them or against them. And so they monitor the people that you talk to, the things you talk about, collectively. And so there may not be anything dangerous about what you're saying, but they want to know what's going on. For example, they want to know if their lies about the Russians hacking our election are taking hold. If those are not taking hold, then they need to change the narrative, and then they can monitor our response to that changed narrative. By doing this, it's called geospatial intelligence, human domain analytics, activity-based intelligence. I keep talking about these things. You need to understand this is the fastest growing area of data analysis. So it's not just how they collect the data, but their purpose. They want to manipulate you. Clearly, we can see this being done now against the Trump administration. You have the intelligence and the Washington establishment that is against Trump. And they're trying to manipulate public opinion against him. That is what is so dangerous about this. And their ability to listen to you on your television or any device that you've got or in your car, or to know what you're doing, who you're seeing, what you're talking about, what you think as collectively, not as you as an individual. They don't really care about you as an individual. Yes, they'll look at a few fringe individuals, and they may look at the people who are actually paying attention and are not following their narrative and say, well, we've got these outliers over here. Let's focus on them. There's a lot of dangers in this, and we have to shut this down. We cannot sacrifice our liberty for the promise of security. How many times do we have to see this? We have these people saying, well, we got to get these bad guys out there, and we got to take out the terrorists, we got to take out the child pornographers, and yet they don't. Because nothing matters to them more than their power base, and their power lies in their secrecy and in their lies. One of the interesting things about this is Julian Assange says there's no way that they can be prosecuted for this because the software, the hacking software, is not copyrighted. They can't copyright it because it's illegal what they're doing, number one. And number two, if they were to put it under classification, if they were to classify this stuff, they would be guilty as they distribute it around, put it on your computers. They could be prosecuted for putting that classified information out. So we need to look at what's going on. And we need to start prosecuting these people for violating the Constitution that they took an oath to. And you need to understand how they're using this. Please understand how they're using this. We have to have this public discussion. That's the value of what WikiLeaks does. That's the value of what we do here at InfoWars. It's to create a discussion. If we start talking about this and they understand that we're onto them, that in and of itself would have a big effect because they're watching everything that we're doing. For Infowars.com, I'm David Knight, going back on vacation. See you next week.
Talk show host is Alex Jones. He's a conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host Alex Jones.
Alex Jones.
Jones is the wildly popular conspiracy theorist.
Radio talk show host and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Deeply, I think, racist.
I just got called racist by MSNBC.
I don't want that man to have a gun.
1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
The Alex Jones Show. Watch the free stream live at Infowars.com/show.
David Knight from Infowars.com. I interrupt this important vacation for an even more important announcement. Of course, you've seen the news about WikiLeaks and Vault 7. Remember, it was 5 years ago that we talked about, reported on Infowars.com, that David Petraeus went to a meeting of In-Q-Tel, the venture capital firm for the CIA. Why do we have a venture capital firm for the CIA? But that's another story. Anyway, he goes to them and he says, we're going to have the appliances spying on everybody. And of course, that's part of this. It's the Internet of Things. And that's one of the key things